Okay, so the next thing is a couple of visual examples of what certain things are in the loudness scale. So if you start here at the bottom, a quiet room is about 40 dB. Conversation, and they gave an example of like a dishwasher, would be 60 dB. Busy traffic, vacuum cleaner goes up to 70 dB. That's starting to get a little bit louder. Now, anything below this 80 dB mark is going to be a low likelihood of permanent damage to your hearing. So that's hearing loss, tinnitus. Down here, preserving the hearing you have by wearing ear protection above 85 decibels and double protection above 105 decibels. If your hearing has been damaged, hearing aids can help prevent it from getting worse. Just like a little disclaimer there. So, like I said, when I go to concerts or anything, I'm wearing most of the time I'm wearing some kind of hearing protection. So you get up to 85, that's when you start to have some hearing loss if you have it for a sustained amount of time. Now, if you're going and it's like a short concert, or maybe you're going to like a church service or something like that, small performance, and it's allowed, 90, 95 dB, but it's only for, say, 20, 25 minutes, see, at 90 dB, it would take 2 hours and 31 minutes to cause hearing loss. This range right here is about where your typical church services live. They're typically not long enough to cause hearing loss, but your like rock concerts or any kind of like pop, rap, whatever kind of concert where it's like really blaring, it's going to be up in this kind of thing. It has a rock concert at 120 decibels. So it would take 9 seconds to have some kind of hearing loss at that point. So just keep that in mind. If you're going to a loud concert, just try to bring some ear protection. It will help you in your future. Our ears are very important for mixing, for recording. Everything that we want to do, we're going to need the ability to hear very well. So this one's interesting. Your headphones. Don't be playing music in your headphones super loud, because showing right here, a typical stereo headphone pair is around 100 dB inside your ears, and that's only 15 minutes, and it causes hearing loss. So make sure we're bringing the volume down on our headphones. Obviously, that's at a normal playing volume. You can do it lower and still hear it. That's especially for when we're mixing. Sometimes you'd be mixing for 2 hours. You don't want to be having it super loud that whole time, because it will cause some kind of hearing damage. And you can read, the rest of these here. Here's another, here's another one right there. So, all right, let's talk about phase. This is going to be very important when we start recording acoustic instruments. By acoustic instruments, I mean anything that's not software instruments. So, like, even though an electric guitar is not an acoustic guitar, it would be an acoustic instrument in this sense of anything that isn't software instruments. So these are the way that multiple sound waves interact at the same acoustical space or electrical space. Okay. Now this does apply to like an electrical software instrument thing as well, because we can move the phase for our software instruments if we want to, but usually starting out, it's all okay. There's nothing out of phase because they're not in the same acoustical space together. So there's nothing to be out of phase with. So here's some depictions here. You have your amplitude, okay? Here's another wave, you got your amplitude, right? You see how they're at the same points, both of them? Those are in phase. They look like basically the same kind of image there. Now, this is kind of like a mirror image. This is 180 degrees out of phase. When it goes to its peak, the bottom one goes to its trough, it's out of phase. What you'll get here is volume loss. Basically, if it's 100% out of phase like this, you will hear nothing. Most of the time, it'll be semi out of phase, and then you'll just get a loss in volume, loss of low end. One big example when we're recording is multiple guitar amplifier mics, or like your snare drum will always flip the phase on the bottom snare drum. And you know, we'll get into more examples of that, but that's just to get you kind of an idea. So here's a depiction of in phase, okay? And also, if you're in phase, it adds the amplitude, as you can see. Out of phase, nothing. Differing waves, kind of, it makes it all different. Creates a new wave. Okay, so harmonics, overtones, and partials. Multiple of a fundamental frequency occurring at the same time. It's what gives instruments their individual tones. So this is good for a second perfect fifth, major third, second octave perfect fifth on the G, first octave, your fundamental C. You're talking about the different tones and frequencies of each, okay? So it's a multiple of a fundamental frequency occurring at the same time. So the easiest way to explain that, and it's a complex, kind of a complex concept, but when you have multiple things going on at the same time, sometimes those frequencies will overlap, creating harmonics or overtones. Okay, we don't have to really go much more into that, but just to give you an idea. These are going to be wave shapes. So your main wave shapes are going to be sine, which is your regular type. Okay, sawtooth. Okay, square wave, right here. The peaks and troughs are cut off in a square wave and a triangle wave. Okay, the most natural is a sine wave. Usually in acoustic instruments, you'll get this. Square waves can be, you know, like synthesizers and things like that. Let's talk about envelope. Envelope describes the initial action, development, and diminishing of a waveform over the course of time. Write down this. A is attack. This is the attack of a wave. Decay is when it comes down, sustain, and then release. All right, and you can pause right here to get the definitions of each of those. Okay, that's all for the sound theory lesson.